believe been caught on the nose.
Down on the ice they go as McCormick teed off on Tyson struck it.
Well, there it is. Oh, there.
You don't want that intro twice, Strax.
No, we don't want it twice. So, well, as you guys heard, me getting the crap beat out of myself a few times there. Some of the poor decisions that I probably made throughout my career. But a lot of that's kind of the impetus for why we've created this podcast, and we just want to chat with guys that have had the experience in the league and kind of get their take on a few things, and hopefully let some of you guys listening avoid some of the little pitfalls and broken noses that some of us older fellas went through along the way. So as always, joined today with my D partner from college, founder of our firm, Johan Kroll, and very fortunate to have an ex-teammate of both of ours, Braden Holtby, as well.
Yeah, really excited to have a good friend here, Holts. On the ice, 5-time NHL All-Star, Vezina Trophy winner, Stanley Cup Champion with the Caps in 2018. Off the ice, well respected by teammates, loved by the hockey family. Has done and continues to do a number of terrific things in the community. One of my favorite things about Holtz, even being teammates with him, very early in his career, just like that the same guy that he is, 12, 13 years later. Just the demeanor, laid back, get the guitar out, mellow, fun to be around. So we're really excited to have Holtz on today, and we appreciate you taking the time to chat with us a little bit here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I don't know, I'll try and contribute something to this, but it's a pleasure to be here.
And I know some of the hockey family misses seeing that beard a little bit, but just any updates on your end and how your family's doing, things like that.
Yeah, we're back in the DC area now. Call this home. So it's we're settling in. Kids are getting older. They're 11 and 9 now. So my life is pretty much chasing them around and catching up on some lost time on with the travel schedule over the years. So that's pretty much it. Just trying to be as present as I can here right now.
That's perfect. As you know, this podcast, it's all about sharing lessons learned along the way and trying to help out some younger guys. So first question, just kind of starting with hockey. What would you say was the best advice you ever received as a hockey player?
It's kind of tough because I feel like there's different advice that resonated at different times through my progression, as whether it was in minor hockey or junior or moving to professional. Obviously, a lot of that I got like most guys is from your parents and from my dad. Growing up, I remember he always told me when I was real young, he's like, everyone has bad games. You just do everything you can to not have 2 in a row. And it's kind of that consistency, not to get too down on yourself. And then, later on, he was, as you're trying to make teams to get to the next level, he was always like, he just tell me, you're wherever you go, you're not going there just to wear a jersey. You're going there to perform and move past that. Those little bits here and there. And, when you get later on in life, it's kind of the advice to really put things in perspective. Hockey advice is so much different. It's always usually the simpler things that resonate with you. And I remember, Mitch Korn was our goalie coach in Washington for years, and come the bigger games, he'd always be like, "Hey, the puck doesn't know it's a big game. just go out, nothing changes. And I think that kind of resonated with me. Just simplify everything and just go play.
Yeah. I think you were kind of always known to be pretty level-headed out there. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Just
it wasn't
always that two up and two down, right? What, do you think you had a little hot temper?
Yeah, Crowley saw that early on. That was it definitely was something I had to really work on. And it took a lot of work, a lot of breathing, a lot of those kind of things.
It might have been a little, maybe the guitar was helping too.
The guitar definitely.
The more guitar that we had on the road and so forth. Yeah,
it really did. I started playing at the rink too before games, and I think it's to have that outlet in different ways. I think to release some things is very important, and I think a lot of guys don't have that. So I was pretty fortunate that the boys in South Carolina from the start was where I really kind of saw the connection between hockey and music, and wanted to make sure that was part of my life.
That's great.
That's awesome. Did you guys? How long were you guys together?
We were mainly in Hershey, right? I don't know if we ever played in South Carolina.
Yeah, no, because I think when you were in South Carolina, Holts, I was up in probably Syracuse or Manchester. I was bouncing all around the American League.
Yeah.
But
I think
mostly Hershey, and that's where we started really playing some guitar together and things.
Yeah.
And it continues to this day. Every time I go out there and visit, it's we almost always get the guitars out. It's always one of my favorite parts. So
yeah, it's great. Wish it was more often, but it's still nice.
Yeah. Now that you're back in DC, you have some local bandmates. You got some neighbors or something. Anybody that you can get together with?
I haven't found many yet, so that's hopefully down the road somewhere. I need to get more confident in my abilities to make that step.
I understand that part. I don't know if you know our history, but we had a little band in college, and I mean, you know how good Johan is, and the other two guys were very good. And then I didn't even know what I was doing, so they just kind of leaned me against a pole and handed me a bass and kind of walked me through what I needed to do. So, but I just look back at a lot of fun, and obviously I can relate to that release, right? Away from the rink. You always need to have something like that to calm you down.
Big time.
Strax, you're always too hard on yourself. Like, you were a fine bass player. Just walking those scales, just the boom, 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 boom.
I'm pretty sure anytime there was a hard bass part, I walked away and handed you the bass. So I appreciate your faulty memories of me being good, but now when I go, when these guys get together, I've been out in the garage a couple of times with Johan and his local crew, and I feel that where I'm not. I don't want to contribute. I kind of want to sit in the back seat and just watch them go.
Yeah, which is nice too.
It is. Yeah.
Well, Holt, second question we have here on the list, it kind of ties into what we help with a little bit on a day-to-day basis here at the office, but just throughout your life, what was the best advice you ever received just in terms of taking care of your finances and being responsible?
Yeah, I think it kind of, not to repeat myself, but when I moved away for junior hockey, I think a lot of times you get wrapped up in hockey and forget about everything else. And away from that, I remember my dad made sure that I read Rich Dad Poor Dad and all those books back, when you don't get that education in school. So I wasn't by any means an expert, but at least I went in with understanding how things work a little bit better than most, to know that a dollar doesn't go as far as you imagine it or think it does. But that's kind of that personally, and then through experience, I think listening to the guys, the older people, and making sure that you find someone that you trust to help you. Put your trust in the people that understand and have that expertise and your best interest in mind. I think is the most important part, especially when you're playing. You want to you have enough stuff on your mind to make sure you do your homework, to make sure you find someone that you trust with your finances, so that you don't have to worry about it as much, and then come the time where you have things in order.
I think you touched on a lot of big points there, where us kind of, being on this side and working with hockey guys, I think we end up talking about it a lot. It's just, if you could get enough guys to come into the league with that idea of just knowing the basics, right? And knowing enough to ask a few questions, right? And kind of do some due diligence. And you're not going to be a full-time financial professional. You're a hockey player. You want to focus on that, but in your search for finding, good people to help you with your finances, just knowing some of those basics, right? And caring enough to just look into it just a little bit, right? Take a time on the bus to read a couple of those books, so kind of the basics to ask is really important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that point, I think you bring up a good point. Just that the dollar doesn't go as far as you might think after federal taxes, state taxes, escrow, all the other deductions that might be coming out for different pieces, for insurances, disabilities, and a lot of people don't grasp that. So that's great.
Yeah.
Next question here, Holtz. Just in terms of the best advice that you've received, just life in general. Really open-ended. Any direction you want to go with that, but just best advice for life in general.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much in different stages of your life. You have different things that resonate with you, right? And I always had this a saying that my old goalie coach, the sports psychologist, always told me, and he was referring to hockey, but I kind of took it more personally to life. And he always said, repeat to yourself, if you get too ahead of yourself or dwelling on the past or anything, it's just you have no future, you have no past. Your goal is to make the moment last. Just repeating that in your head when you get worried about the future or mistakes you've made or anything like that. It just kind of brings you back to center and especially the outside world, as you kind of get wrapped up in it. Sometimes you just got to focus in on what makes you happy, what you have for goals, and making people around you happy or successful. And I think that's what I took out of it, anyways.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that was a beautiful answer.
That's a great answer. Yeah, it is. And I can see you living that, as a guy when we get to spend time together, and I can see you living it. And this crazy world we live in with a number of things going on that might not be ideal, to be able to remain present, right, with the people around you that you love, and just having those special moments and being present in that moment is I think a struggle for a lot of people.
Yeah. It's sorry, Holtz. Just in today's world, obviously there's so many outlets and like access to information and bad information, and people, the Chicken Little stuff, yelling that the sky's falling. It's easy to get caught up in that stuff. So nice to have that kind of reminder to come back to center and stay in the moment and just worry about the things that matter the most.
Yeah. I was going to say the exact same thing. There's so much stuff shoved down your throat now. Kind of, you can get wrapped up in it pretty easily. But it's good to have those things. Like Johan, you just went up to Saskatchewan again, right? And those are the times where you can just center yourself again and really bring you back down to earth with those issues and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You might be having a tough week until you catch giant lake trout up in the middle of nowhere. You don't see another person for a week. Although Holtz, I'm not sure if I told you, the trip got cut short a couple days with our pilot, that flies us north with the wildfires, and then there's like a really low ceiling. And they're flying on site, right? And he said so we took off from Fort Mac and went up, and we're landing on this dirt runway, right? And it's he starts descending, and he's flying at like 300 feet, and he said he couldn't see the treetops, so we had to turn back around until things cleared up, which is
no way.
Yeah, but eventually we got into camp and caught some beautiful fish, and I'm not allowed to say the name of the lake. My dad would get mad. He's been going up there for 35 years. But
I'm glad you said that, because I almost just shouted it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a quiet. We keep that on the down low.
It's a secret lake.
Yeah.
It's a secret lake.
Can't have the Hockey Family podcast pop, get all those people flying out there. Well, you're heading back to Sask soon, you said, Holtz, and then a little vacation. I'm supposed to be heading up there kind of the same time as you as well. I think getting back, it's nice that all three of us have that little bit of a Sask connection. So,
yeah, not many people do. We got to stick together.
Yeah.
I just watched got sent a video today about the Athabasca sand dunes. And that's something, I don't know if either of you had a chance to go up there.
I haven't, no.
No. We did that as a kid. I mean, it's kind of amazing. You think of Saskatchewan, but right in the middle of the boreal forest, I mean, there's a desert. It's the sand dunes that get blown in, and it's like encapsulating the trees, and it's crazy. Yeah. A lot closer, I think, to my neck of the woods than yours. Would be a little bit of a trip for you.
The Saskatchewan trip is 10 hours is close, right?
I know. I found that funny when I went overseas my last year. I mean, it's a tiny island, right? I was in the UK, and it's just like, for a Saskatchewan person, you just think to jump in the car and go anywhere, right? You can be in Scotland in 10 hours or 12 hours, and you think nothing. You'd say that to one of the locals, and they'd be like, "You're going to drive?" Why wouldn't I drive? But I mean, they're so used to the trains and stuff. It's different. Yeah, if you guys ever get a chance, that's something cool to see. But Saskatchewan, you talk about grounding, and I said earlier about you having that level head, and maybe that's what I keep thinking of as more your off ice, because you definitely had a little Sask fire on the ice. But I just think of you as always kind of being that level-headed guy and going into each game, being ready to rock. So,
thank you.
Well, good, Holtz.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts? We really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us for a little bit here today.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's great. I'm looking forward to listening to the other episodes as well. But we're kind of living the hermit life, so I don't have a ton of new exciting things to add. We're just plugging along here. So
nice to be back in DC though. Like, you get to see the guys much?
Yeah, I mean, not as much. You know how the schedule is with when you're in the season. You don't. You don't usually want to do much, and I didn't want to bother many people. So I saw a few guys here and there, but our whole life was kind of here to start with. So it's kind of like moving home in a sense, for life outside of hockey too. So it was good for our kids to get back some stability after bouncing around multiple cities and different schools and all that. So it's nice to to be able to tell them they're going to the same school next year again.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's a city that loves you, Holt. So it's a good fit for you to be back there.
Yeah, we love it here.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we appreciate you jumping on and giving
a lot of good stuff.
Awesome
I think a lot
answers.
of good stuff for some young guys. And that was a lot of good wisdom for a guy that's done it the right way.
Yeah, we're excited to get these released. And, we talked about all the things that are out there in the world you can get distracted with and stuff that's getting thrown at you. So hopefully we can have a little piece of good stuff going out into the world, right? And have some guys learn some lessons. So
exactly.
Yeah, we appreciate it. So thanks again for taking the time, Holtz.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Holtz.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Nice to see that beard again.
Yeah.
Through this podcast, the information provided by the Hockey Wealth Group is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial, tax, or legal advice. You should consult a financial professional familiar with the specific circumstances of your unique financial situation before making any financial decisions. Nothing in this broadcast constitutes a solicitation for the sale or purchase of any securities. Any mentioned rates of return are historical or hypothetical in nature and are not a guarantee of future returns. Johan Kroll, CFA, CFP, and Tyson Strachan, MBA, are investment advisor representatives of Oceanside Advisors DBA, the Hockey Wealth Group, an SEC-registered investment advisor.